Welcome back, everybody. This is the Benjinator, and you're watching Let's Play Xenogears, the greatest JRPG of all time. So last time we looked into the memories. Well, not necessarily of Faye, but the memories are just kind of a glimpse into the past of a previous life in Lacan, and the events that transpired during his time. So we kind of found out that, him and Ronnie Fatima, and Krellian, they were all buddies in Nissan 500 years ago. This is around the time where Lacan was painting a picture of Sophia. This was obviously before she sacrificed herself in the midst of a really shitty deal that Shavat made with Solaris to end the war. But in exchange, they get to massacre the people of Nissan. And so that's why she had to sacrifice herself. So we know what's coming, but we're looking up to the events that, kind of preceded that. So, let's continue. Alright, so here we go. Around the fire. So, we were talking last time about Krellian and what he used to be like, but apparently he was even a little psychotic in his mad scientist days. And from what it sounds like here, he's saying that the only person that was able to calm him down was Sophia. So Sophia is kind of this Mother Teresa-like figure. And Krellian was probably somewhat of a not even a scoundrel, just kind of maybe a psychopath before that. So maybe his transformation wasn't really a transformation. But I guess we'll see. What's up, guys? Just hanging out like a bunch of bros. Chilling in the paint shop. So this is about the time that Lacan looks like he's saying, I'm done with painting. Done with painting. I guess he's just kind of looking at the situation and saying that painting is not a great thing, but Krellian seems to think, well, sounds like you're making that up. So maybe Krellian does have some kind of insight into what's really going on. So basically Lacan's falling in love with Sophia and he can't take it. Yeah. That's probably what's going on. That makes sense. That's so touching. That's so weird. Well, this is the love story of Lacan and Sophia, obviously, which parallels that of Faye and Ellie. Which is not a coincidence, by the way. Because we've talked about these kind of multiple generations things, so maybe one can surmise that these two were kind of brought together in various circumstances. Maybe this also happened in other previous lives as well. We already saw kind of a hint that way back when, Faye used to be some guy named Kim, the one that Emeralda attuned to. So that's some interesting stuff. I apologize, viewers. I actually teach classes at a local community college, and one of the things I tell my students is not to use the word interesting a lot, and I feel like in the course of this, these post-game LPs, I've been using that word too much. So I'm going to try to refrain from that in the future. Keyword being try. Oh, and so here we kind of see that Krellian obviously had a thing for Sophia, and he's kind of jealous that Lacan is on the receiving end of her feelings, and not him. So I see how this maybe breeded some resentment. Just everybody's hating on Faye / Lacan. I mean, God, you had Ramses hating on Faye, now you got Krellian who's breeding resentment for Lacan. It's a mess. It's a mess, I tell you. A tremendous mess. Still, it's a nice painting, even though it was never finished. It's still kind of a nice painting. Fun stuff. I mean, it does kind of have this Mona Lisa vibe to it. Although there's much more, there's a lot more primary colors in there. More reds, more you know, these kind of hues that jump out at you. Not that I'm an art expert or anything, but it does seem to have a certain distinctiveness to it that the Mona Lisa doesn't. By the way, if you guys ever have seen the Mona Lisa, it's in the Louvre in Paris. It's a little disappointing. It's a lot smaller than you think, and it's behind this big plastic clear cage thing so that people don't steal it. So it's hard to get to. Well, I'm trying to think of what Lacan... I mean, was he also, like, part of this militia group? Is he doing any fighting? I mean, we know that Faye's strong. And I mean, obviously Lacan's got to be pretty strong as well, but... I mean, is he part of the warrior caste in this point? I mean, Ronnie, we know, is, like, obviously some kind of military leader, and so is Krellian, but... Is Lacan just, like, some buddy, some artist that hangs out with them? I'm not sure. It's never really clarified exactly what Lacan was doing back in those days. Not that it's a bad thing, though. Seems like Lacan was just being Lacan. A little dour, a little sad, a little too serious, just like Faye. Not that huge of a difference, I don't think. Well, I do kind of appreciate... I mean, I know I'm not really discussing the dialogue that's going on screen, but, you know, it's all very emotive, so to speak. This game was kind of meant to be, you know, an examination of the human condition and so forth. Bro! Sorry. And so, it looks like everybody's hanging out here. And the Queen, nice. Oh boy. Is this where the Queen says that, you're all screwed? Yeah, this sounds like we're all screwed, right? This sounds like a bad thing. Because we know now, us the audience know that they made that deal to essentially, like, they're not going to the solar system, they're just withdrawing. They're just getting out of there. I think Zephyr's full of shit. I think she's lying. This is all kind of insane. I mean, yeah, maybe Sophia did agree to it, but we all know that this was all part of some really shady deal that didn't work out in the end. We all know. Well, they don't know, but we know. Just too bad that we know now instead of back then. Could have said something. Sophia just get, like, knocked out or something? What's the deal, yo? Oh, is this right after she fall over? Like, this is obviously not when she sacrificed herself, because, you know, when she sacrificed herself, she would have been in smithereens. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that was also Ellie's gear. So, it's the same damn thing. Same one, same Omni gear. Interesting stuff. So it looks like here, Sophia is basically just... I don't know, maybe she got, like, pneumonia or something, I'm not sure. Krellian's obviously really torn up about this. I mean, so is Lacan, obviously. Meanwhile, Ronnie is all just kind of like, yeah, you know, we gotta keep our head above water. We gotta stick it out in the good fight. Even though, as we all know, they're actually screwed. You know, I used to like Shavat, but... God, can't believe they did that. That was really not cool, Queen Zephyr. Bad deal. Especially, like, handing over Miang. You know... They probably didn't know that if you killed her, she just comes back as another woman. I mean, getting rid of Miang is not easy. I mean, nobody's been able to do it for years. So let's be honest. It turned out to be a pretty shitty deal. So yeah, I guess maybe I missed exactly what happened. But maybe she just, like, taken some, you know, bad, like, you know, she must have just fallen ill or something. Now, of course, he's doing his declaration of love while she's recovering from her wounds. Because Lacan is just that kind of person. I do like how he's calling her Ellie now. since she basically begged him to call him that. It's interesting stuff, that's for sure. Ah. Yeah, this is, I mean, like, I know I'd said this several times before, but the second disc really does have this kind of almost stage-ready dialogue. Like, it's all very spelled out for you. I mean, there's a lot of text in the first disc, but this second disc, I kind of feel like it really takes it to another level. But as I said, I don't mind it. I like it. I think it makes the game way more compelling. I mean, it really was not until the second disc where I really started to feel like this game was like something beyond just your average JRPG. Like, this was something greater, something better. And I mean, this is like 4/5 of the way through the game. More at this point. We're getting towards the end. So this is all good stuff. In spite of the shortcomings of this game. Doesn't quite get to this level in most other JRPGs, and there's some really good storylines out there, some really fantastic ones, and definitely a few that I'll be covering in the future. I mean, I after kind of you know, dealing with this game, I was kind of at a loss for what games I would do next, but now I'm starting to get an idea. I should mention too that it's probably going to be a while before I do a solo LP for a game. I got another project in mind. So this whole exchange was going on, and you know, like, Krelian heard it and wasn't too happy because obviously Sophia likes Lacan, and Krelian kind of got friend zoned. He is the original Captain Friend Zone, I suppose. Although, I mean, not even that. Like, it's not like Sophia was. We didn't really see any evidence that, like, Sophia saw Krelian as a great friend. Maybe she just felt like he was a troubled soul and wanted to help him out. But now, of course, we're getting more footage of the crash, so that is what's going to happen, folks, unfortunately. I mean, we didn't get to see much of Sophia, but we kind of have an idea that she was very similar to Ellie in a lot of regards. Although she was a holy woman of Nisan, whereas Ellie was a Solarian soldier turned good guy. But she at least made the turn, and that's important. Oh, man. So, open your fist. Basically, Krelian, stop being such a dick. It's like Krelian's a disturbed soul. And something should be done about that. Yeah, sorry, Lacan. She's already made her decision. Oh, damn. Ellie! Oh, we haven't seen this before. This is quite tragic. But remember, this whole sacrifice that she made it possible for everybody to escape, which is interesting. I should have said interesting. I said I was going to stop saying that. Okay, which made it possible for the Nisanians to live. And as she says, Lacan live. This just right there. That's kind of an important line, by the way, viewers. Keep in mind that whole live thing, because it's going to be significant in a little bit. Well, there goes Sophia. We hardly knew ye. Poor Lacan. That's how the story went, I suppose. I feel like right now they're gonna show like a caption where they're just kind of like, and so Lacan, you know, went on to become a game show host or something. Oh, we know that's not what happened. Something much worse occurred to Lacan. So here's everybody standing around. This is where Krelian makes his big speech. So obviously the cat's out of the bag, and he kind of knows that the Shavadians screwed them over. And he's obviously distraught by this, as is everybody else. Yeah. God damn. So this is probably the point where Krelian just goes absolutely apeshit crazy and decides that he's going to take matters into his own hands. So this is actually an interesting thing. The is God dead? Maybe he never existed to begin with. This is very reminiscent of the philosopher Nietzsche. Famous, one of my favorite philosophers. He was the one that famously said that God was dead. And we killed him is the exact quote, but Krelian kind of takes that in another direction and says, you know, maybe there wasn't a God in the first place. And so this actually becomes even more Nietzschean, as you'll see in just a little bit. There's a really interesting quote. So, if God doesn't exist in our world, then I will create God with my own hands. So, oddly enough, Nietzsche says, if one doesn't have a father, one must create one. It's kind of the same idea. I mean, in Nietzsche's case, it was a little bit different, but it's kind of the same sentiment that, you know, what's his name? Krelian is kind of projecting the whole idea of the Ubermensch, the overman who will create a new system of values. So Ronnie is proposing something a little different. He is creating the country to stand up against Solaris, which would later be called Ava. So, that's some interesting stuff. So Krelian does something totally destructive. Ronnie does something constructive by creating a nation. But now, of course, we're going to see what happens to Lacan, which is a tragedy unto itself. So yeah, he's going to fade away. And there's the remains of the painting with the unfinished bottom, but hey, most of it's done. Looks pretty good. Now it's got that, you know, sinful glow to it. And so what's Lacan gonna do? Oh, hey. Oh, there he is. Or is that Faye? It's hard to tell. They look a little alike. No, it's Lacan. There we go. So I guess she's... You know, they found her remains and they got her frozen, I guess in carbonite, something like that. But is she, like, effectively dead now? Oh, wait. No, she just turned into Myong. That's crazy. Ay, ay, ay. That is insane. Oh my god, no. Don't listen to her, Lacan. She's doing the Grahf thing. She's just like, if you had the power, dost thou desire the power? My fist is the divine breath. Blossom, O fallen seed. That whole speech. I have it almost memorized. Not quite, though. Getting there. I'll be better at memorizing speeches later. Unrivaled. So this is obviously how, you know, Lacan falls into corruption and becomes Grahf. As he gets told by Myong to do this. So at some point we can insinuate that Myong did take over Sophia, just like she took over Ellie most recently. Oh, going up to the Arctic, apparently. To go to some great, gigantic gas barrier of some sort. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, don't do it. Live. 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 And yes, Lacan went on to live. Become Grahf. It's quite tragic. So we're going to see a little bit more of how the saga plays out in the next episode of Let's Play Xenogears. This is the Benjinator, and thank you guys once again for watching.